Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel on such an exciting Dazzled or Disappointed review for you today on the Natasha Denona Cranberry eyeshadow palette. So I was able to pick this up at my local store. They had a couple left, and I know this hasn't even hit the app yet or Sephora.com, and so I was super excited. I had heard that some stores had it out, and so when I saw it I was like, okay, I'm not even going to think twice, I'm going to pick it up. And so because the last couple of Natasha Denonas have just really hit it out of the park for me, and so I thought, this being cranberry, you know I love all things red and pink related to the eyes, I thought I need to pick this up. So if you're interested to see if this is right for you, what I'm wearing on my eyes, how this worked for me, how this performed for me, and if it's worth the $48 price tag for 5 pans of products, then just keep on watching. Okay, so first things first, the box is very pretty, very holiday, Christmas-esque. It is in a cranberry color box, a cranberry shade, and again, it's the cranberry palette, so this is right in line with the theme of the palette. On the back, in typical Natasha Denona fashion, you have the kind of the diagram of the palette. Well, in this case, it's 5 straight across, and you have the names right there. It also tells you the ingredients and where it's made, and it's made in Italy, which most, if not all, of her products are, at least her eyeshadow palettes. So that's what we've got going on there. I'm just going to kind of side by side last year's for you because I have Aries from last year's holiday, and so that is the difference there. This one's last year's and this one's this year's, so that's what we've got going on there. Now, before I take you into the actual product, I want to give you a description off of the Sephora website. It says it's a new 5-pan eyeshadow palette featuring 4 brand new shades and 1 shade from the holiday 2017 Aries palette. It says this eyeshadow palette features 5 buttery soft shades that blend together seamlessly. Natasha Denona's revolutionary formula is ultra pigmented, long-lasting, and blends easily. You do get 5 shades at 0.08 ounces or 2.5 grams, and as mentioned, it is $48. It is limited edition because it is holiday. Now, last year she had released 2 different ones. It was Aries and something else, I can't remember, Luna maybe? Anyways, this is the one I had opted for. This year she only has the one. So let's just go ahead and go into packaging and the inside of the palette. So these particular palettes, I actually like them very much. I like the feel of them. I'm not really one to purchase palettes that only have like 4 or 5 shades. To me, it's almost like a waste of money. That's why I have not picked up the little minis that Too Faced released. I know everybody's raving about them, but I have just, I know myself, and I don't get as much use out of those minis as I do the larger palettes. So that being said, because of the shade range, I wanted to pick this one up. I was gonna bite the bullet and pay the $48 for the 5. Here's what they look like, and again, if you have last year's, if you pick up the little minis that are $25, you kind of know the layout of this. It's got the clear cover and the 5 shades all in a line, and then you've got on the back just same thing as the box, this little diagram of the shades and the shade names on there. You open it up, and the cover, the plastic, is very, very good quality. It's very thick. It's almost like an acrylic type of material, and I like it very much. It's very sturdy, and it's the kind of material that would hold up if you were to travel with it. It'd be harder for this to crack. On the inside, you've got 5. Now, last year, mine, this particular shade, the one that's a repeat, which I'll go over here with you in a minute, mine was kind of shrunken. It's weird, but it's like this one is shrunken, so if I tilt it, it falls out of the pan. So it's kind of nice to be able to make sure I got a good one in store. But this is what the 5 shades look like from the Cranberry eyeshadow palette. And so let me go ahead and take you into swatches, and then after that, we'll go into what's on my eyes today. Here we've got all 5. I did my thumb as well. So we've got Daisy, Sakura, Botanic, Blossom, and Nude. And I will already tell you, Nude is the one that is the repeat from the Aries palette last year to this Cranberry palette this year. So that being said, it's kind of a bummer for those of us who have purchased the Aries that they would have duplicated that, because it's like, well, if you're coming out with another holiday palette, then why do you have a repeat from last year's palette? But that's just my take. So let me go ahead and place these on my hand so that you can see what they look like, and that's there. So 3 metallics, or 3, I guess, sparkly type of shades, and then 2 mattes, with the mattes being the cranberry shade, and then that what is looks like that grape shade in the pan. So that's those there. Now, let's just go ahead and, well, let's first go into what's on my eyes. Let me take this off my hands real quick. Okay, I'm going to zoom you in. Now, I will tell you everything on my eyes is from this palette today. I did not supplement anything from any other palettes in my collection. I strictly use this so that you can see how it performs. So let me zoom you in, and I will start you off with the crease. Is the matte cranberry shade called Sakura right there. And what I ended up doing was I put it on my crease, and I ended up putting it all over the lid, and then I layered the metallics over top so that it have a little bit more richer pigment to sit on top of and stand out from. So then after that, all over the lid, and I stopped right about here. All this is the nude shade. It's that metallic nude shade. I applied it with, okay, so I'm gonna tell you, the first layer I did apply with a brush, and then I went in with my finger today. I have found that that seems to layer very, very nicely. Anyways, right here in the middle, to add a little bit more dimension, I used the shade Botanic, which is the very middle shade in the palette, and is kind of that pinky orange metallic shade. Outer portion of the lid is that grape matte called, what is that called? Blossom. That's right there, deepening that area, and then just this whole outer part. Now the lower lash line, Blossom is right here on the outer portion, but right here is that shade Sakura. And then on the inner corner, I have that lilac sparkly shade called Daisy. I love the name of that. I'm not wearing any brow bone highlight today, but that is what we've got going on the eyes today using this eyeshadow palette. So let me zoom you back out, and I'll take you into thoughts, because yes, $48 is quite a hefty price tag to pay for a 5-pan eyeshadow palette. Now, I am of the preference that I would rather pay $25 for her little mini. So I kind of wish, honestly, who's gonna go through a whole pan of these? I would have rathered a little mini at $25 with these same shades, and then it's less to spend, and yet I have the eyeshadow shades that I'm never gonna hit pan on. So anyways, it is what it is. She kept it probably pretty, you know, consistent as to what she did last year. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you about the matte shades is that you've got the cranberry shade, and you've got this what looks to be like a very deep grape color, but the weird thing is, once you start layering them, this one's not a whole lot darker than this one once you start putting it on. It's really strange, because you would legit think that that is going to really deepen it up, make it extra smoky, and it just doesn't, because it's almost like once you start blending it in, it's like, hey, this kind of is looking similar to this one. Anyways, so there is that. Second of all, they look very cranberry when I put it on initially. As time goes by, those shades start looking very pink on me, which is really strange. And I don't know if it's coming across on camera, that it is just that my eyeshadow looks almost more pink than it does reddish cranberry. So anyways, there's that as well. What I have found for the metallics is kind of in line with like her gold eyeshadow palette that I recently reviewed. It goes on so well with a finger. It also goes on very, very nicely with a brush. However, I have found that it just goes on better with a finger, a little bit more opaque. You can put it, you pack it on a little bit quicker as far as build up the intensity quicker. With a brush, as with most times with those shades, it's going to take a little bit more packing on. But I have found that what I really like to do is layer it, like I mentioned earlier. So I like to grab the brush, start packing on, put like just a kind of a wash, a layer, just a wash of color on there, and then I go in with my finger, and it helps it build up so well. Like, I mean, this metallic looks like, no lie, liquid metal, and it goes on very, very quickly like that. I did not have to spend a whole lot of time layering that up to make it look like that. So that to me tells me the quality of a product, and that's really what makes Natasha Denona luxury, quite frankly, is the fact that it can go to this type of intensity for the metallic nature, or the foiled nature, with like just in 2 seconds it goes from 0 to 100. So I did that used my finger to layer this one on top. So that's another thing I'm going to tell you, is that they layer very well. They just, it's like they're so creamy, they just kind of blend into each other, which makes it so nice. As far as fallout, I did not have any fallout for these two. There was slight kick up, but neither of those are deal breakers for me, but I am relaying to you because for y'all, sometimes those kinds of things are deal breakers. So I really had next to no fallout, and these two shades right here had obvious. I think all pans of product are going to have kick up. You can't, I don't think you can ever avoid that. But that is the scoop on that. So as far as me being dazzled or disappointed, so as far as the price tag, it's $48. I say it's luxury because at that price tag, you're basically paying about $10, almost $10 for each pan of product in here, which yes, it is a lot of money, but I don't think there's a valid point to how can you charge that much for eyeshadows when there is a very clear, you can tell the difference in the quality and consistency with something like this as far as it being luxury. So it's just kind of like a known thing that it's a luxury product, and you know what, if you don't want it, if you don't want to pay that, you don't have to pick it up. Now I will say though that at $48 it makes it a lot more attainable than one of her $129 palettes. So if you're kind of wanting to test out Natasha Denona, if you're wanting to get your feet wet, if you just want Natasha Denona in your collection, these and then the little $25 ones are the way to go, because that way you get that in your collection without having to fork over the $129, which even I think that is so much money. It's just something that you have to decide. You have to make a choice if you want to pay that or not. If not, then you don't have to feel forced to buy it. But anyway, so you are paying almost $10 per pan of product in this palette. Now I will say there's going to be a little bit of a twist to this. There's kind of like so first off, I will tell you that this is absolutely a Dazzled for me. This thing, the first time I used it, I was so blown away that I could not stop looking at my eyes, that I was like, oh my gosh, is this like too good to be true? This is top of the top for my holiday releases of the items that I have picked up. I think it's absolutely stunning. The shade range is perfect. The metallics are just awesome. And the mattes just, I think they go on very, very well, despite the one being not being as deep as the other, you know, one, how am I trying to put that? One not being as deep in pan as you would think it would be. Anyways, so aside from that, so it's a Dazzled. I love it. I think it's stunning, and I do think it's worth the $48 price tag. However, I'm going to tell you that it's really a bummer. I mean, like, makes my heart a little sad and almost makes me question, do I even want to keep this then if it's going to be, if I already have a duplicate in my collection? And so that's just something, I mean, yes, obviously I'm going to keep it. I love it. It performs so well, but it's one of those things where when I was, you know, I kind of purchased it on a whim, and then as I'm reading the description, like after I bought it, I'm like, you have to be kidding me. There's a duplicate in here from something I already bought last year. So that really does bum me out. So that's my thing on, okay, if you're going to charge for luxury brand items, then let it be new stuff and not repeats of things that have already come out last year. And that's the gripe I have this year on quite a lot of things holiday. A lot of brands are releasing things that are just repeats. It's things I've seen before. It's things that because they've been out for a few years I have in my collection, and there's no need for me to buy again. Same kind of sets. You just tweaked one or two things, so why would I buy a whole new set? And that's really been my gripe this year about holiday releases. But as a product overall, I mean, I have last year's palette, so yes, this is a dupe for me. However, many of you may not have it, and so all in all, this is a Dazzled. It is stunning, it's beautiful, it performs just as I would expect a Natasha Denona palette to perform, and I am so in love with this. I'm ready to just put this thing to use. I mean, time after time for holiday. It's going to be so amazing for holiday, and I am very excited about it. Okay guys, well that brings us to the end of another Dazzled or Disappointed, and with that comes another verse of the day. If you are new to my channel, I do include a verse of the day from the Bible just to help encourage you, motivate you if you're having a tough day. I hope it just brings like some encouragement, speaks peace to your spirit. It's not in an effort to shove anything down your throat. It's just you know, reading the Bible is one of my passions, and my love for Jesus is just, it's my everyday life. So it wouldn't be appropriate for me to share my love of makeup with you without showing my love of Jesus with you. So here we go, Proverbs 2, 7, and 8, and it says, "He holds victory in store for the upright. He is a shield to those whose walk is blameless, for he guards the course of the just and protects the way of his faithful ones." And I think that's so beautiful. There's certain verses that just get me right down to my soul just because they are so amazing. They just showcase just God's love, His mercy, His caring for us, and I hope that came across to you. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, I hope you'll consider subscribing. I'd love to have you on this YouTube journey with me. If you're looking to find me on Instagram, you can find me at Michelle's Glamour, and I will see you guys very, very soon in the next video. Bye, everybody.